If you're an author or plan to be one, get excited because this podcast is for you. Book Marketing Mentors is the only podcast dedicated to helping you successfully market and sell your book. If you're ready for empowering conversations with successful marketing mavens, then grab a coffee or tea and listen in to your host, international best-selling author Susan Friedmann.
Listeners, I'm excited to share some good news. Podcast Connections is our brand new episode sponsor. If you feel your book deserves more reach but visibility hasn't come easily, podcast guesting can open the right doors. The team at Podcast Connections gets you in front of the audiences who need your message and your expertise. If podcast guesting is something you're interested in, please contact them at podcastconnections.co and tell them you heard about them on the Book Marketing Mentors podcast. And now, let's get on with the show. Welcome to Book Marketing Mentors, the weekly podcast where you learn proven strategies, tools, ideas, and tips from the masters. Every week, I introduce you to a marketing master who will share their expertise to help you market and sell more books. Today, my special guest is Susan Trumpler. She's the founder of Unstoppable Women in Business and the She Boss Cafe, where she helps women entrepreneurs ditch the revenue roller coaster and build thriving businesses without the hassle. Her mission? To make sales feel as natural as making a new friend. No more pushy tactics or awkward pitches. Susan, what an absolute pleasure it is to welcome you to the show, and thank you for being this week's guest expert and mentor.
Thank you, Susan. It's so nice to be here with you.
Well, you and I have spent a lot of time together, and it is just so much fun, and just having you on the show is a real treat. And Susan, as you know, so many authors just feel uncomfortable, to put it mildly, about the idea of selling their book. They think, even though the book is meant to open doors for them, yet they hesitate to talk about it. Why does sharing their book feel like selling, and how does it limit their opportunities?
That's such a huge question, Susan.
We can break it up.
We'll break it down. We'll start with, why do they feel awkward? And I'm going to say, congratulations, you are human. You have a human mind, a human brain that is hardwired to exist and thrive and survive. And unfortunately, your brain perceives the promotion of yourself as threatening. You may be rejected. You may be in harm's way if you go out there and put yourself into an uncomfortable situation. The natural reaction for you when you think about promoting is to say, "Ooh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to feel pushy or salesy." And it's just so natural. But the flip side of this, Susan, is that is hardwiring that's been there since the beginning of time. And you are not doing anything to put yourself in harm's way. So it's almost like learning how to manage that natural reaction and saying, hey, this is okay. I'm safe doing this. There's no harm that can be done.
Yes, I love the idea of it being natural, that we do feel like this. It's a different situation for them. And so often, this idea of feeling salesy, they equate with that used car salesperson.
Yes.
And it's so unfortunate because it couldn't be further from the truth, as you and I both know. How does this limit their opportunities, though, this fear?
Well, I know because mostly your audience are authors, and especially, nonfiction authors, right? They have this perception that when they write their book, they're sharing their expertise, which is true, by putting it into the pages. But the next thought that comes up is, well, I'll just put it out on Amazon. I'll put it out on all the different platforms, and people will just buy it. They'll just stumble across it and buy it. There can't be anything further from the truth. Without you advocating for your book and promoting yourself in your book, the likelihood of you being able to sell as many copies as you'd like or promote yourself the way you would like to, it's just not going to happen. It holds you back from actually the gift that you have for the person you wrote that book for. And I think that's the mistake, Susan, they make is they think, oh, I don't want to be pushy. It's like, hold on. If you had a gift for me, you came to my house with the gift, would you hold back? We hold it back behind you. It's like, no, no, no. I can't share this. I can't share this with you. Right? It's crazy.
I love that example. I really do, because yes, you are giving people a gift, but people aren't buying the book. So let's get into more of what are they really buying and why.
Oh,
Let's start with that part of it
I
before.
love it. You want to know what they're buying? Possibilities. They see something in your book that says, oh, my life could be better, or I could be better. And they dream about the possibility of transformation for themselves. So that's the gift you're giving them in your book is the possibility of a better place for them to be.
Oh, the possibility, yes. Because we all want something to improve ourselves. Brilliant. I love that. Let's talk about how can we make this whole process easier? Again, taking this fear out of the equation, even the word selling out of the equation or promoting.
Yeah.
How can we get around all of that?
And that's such a really great question because what we're talking about here are reframing, right? So when it comes right down to it, you're putting a process in place that says, first, I'm going to help people become aware of what's out there for them. Then I'm going to be able to draw them closer by giving them more and more info about why this is something that they would want. And then eventually they'll commit to it. It's called the buyer's journey, Susan. It's from awareness through commitment. That's the logical brain way of thinking it. So, anytime you put a process in place and you know the defined journey, it just makes it easier. Just follow the process, right? But then the flip side of that is overcoming the procrastination and the things that will hold you back from executing on your process. It's a little bit of work that you have to do both internally on how you view things and then externally on how you put your processes in place so that you are successful.
Now, that mindset has so much to do with it, the reframing, putting it into a whole different context, a process. Now, as soon as you start saying the word process, I think sales script, sort of having a
No.
script.
Oh, my word, no.
Yes, get me out of that mindset.
No. Here's the other thing is you have to feel authentic. When you're out there talking and you are communicating the possibilities and communicating the value of your book and the transformation that can happen for people, you have to do it in a way that uses your own voice and your own words. I am the antithesis of sales scripts. When I say process, what I'm talking about is today I need to show up somewhere so someone can become aware of my book. Where should I show up today? And then maybe tomorrow you're going to take those people who have become aware of you and you're going to love on them a little bit, either through, say, an email, nurturing newsletter, or doing a video for YouTube, whatever it might be. So when I say process, I'm talking about what are you going to say? Where are you going to show up? And then how will you connect with people in a way that resonates with them in the step of the journey that they're in? Okay. Really quickly, what I mean by that is you've got to talk just a little bit differently to someone who doesn't know you at all, rather than someone who has maybe seen you on social, is aware of your book, already has it in their mind that's, oh, this kind of would be good. And you talk to them to move them to that over the goal line. I'm going to buy this book. Your process is, what do I say to this person when I do show up in different places so that I resonate with them based on where they are in their buying journey.
So then, knowing what you're going to say, let's look at that and let's look at it in terms of, let's say we're networking and introducing the fact that I wrote a book. I know that that doesn't go down well at all because it's like, oh, goody good. So what,
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And you and I met networking, right? So we're very aware of when you're in a networking room and some people start talking about what it is they do, it just shuts you down. Like, oh, first, I don't understand it. Second, I don't know what's in it for me. Why should I care? Right. When you start to create a message or how you want to early stage introduce your book and what you do as an author, you really have to do a 180-degree flip. Your initial instincts are, hey, I'm Susan, and I wrote the book called I'm in Sales. And it's a really great book. It's about people who, are reticent to promote themselves. People be like, so what? But if I introduce myself talking about the problem that it solves first, and then I talk about the solution, which is my book, all of a sudden people are drawn into that conversation. If I said, oh man, have you ever thought to yourself when you're ready to promote yourself, I hate feeling salesy and pushy? And people start nodding their head, yes. Well, that's what the solution is my book that I just wrote, blah, 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 blah. So you see how you can just flip it 180 degrees, start with them first. Why would they care? And then bring yourself into the conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And even the idea of finding out first what might be, I don't know, a challenge, a concern, or something they're involved in. So starting off maybe with some questions. I mean, is that something that you advocate?
I don't think it's a bad idea. It depends on the situation, Susan. So if you're in a room where you have to introduce yourself and you don't have the opportunity, then it has to be at a little bit higher of a level. Who's your ideal client and what problem are they going to be able to solve with your book? If you are in a situation where you're having a one-on-one, I always want to be the second person to talk. It's like, tell me about yourself. And I listen and then I fine tune the intro based on what I heard from them, or I'll ask them the questions like you're saying to find out. Here's the bottom line, Suze. We have to stop thinking about ourselves so much. And we've got to think about who we're talking to and what is it that would connect us together, and then adjust yourself so that you're leaning into what they would find interesting.
Yeah. You're so right. And as you were saying that, I was thinking we've got to get away from being us-centric to being the other-centric, you-centric, a bit like this conversation. We're having a conversation. I'm asking you some questions. I'm finding out a little bit more, even though I know a lot about you and what you do. However, pretend I didn't, which happens on these podcasts many times, is that I'm interviewing somebody I've met for the first time. So I want to know a little bit more. Yes, it's being interested in the other person and seeing where there might be a fit too with what you're offering.
Really quickly, could I give your audience a tip? One thing they could do today, like literally today, that will change everything in the way people will resonate with their content, whether it be voice or written. And I think you and I may have spoken about this in the past, but it's called you phrasing.
Okay. Talk to us more about that.
All right. A lot of times when we're talking to people or writing content, we use the word I a lot. I do this and I love this and I want this for people. And I. And going back to the way people's brains work, as soon as you say the word I, that disconnects people from the conversation immediately. We are selfish. As human beings, we are selfish. I don't care about you. I don't until I know why I should. All they have to do is make a shift. Every time they hear themselves say I, or they're writing something and they look through and they see all their I's, how can you change that to a you, Y-O-U phrased sentence? So I love to work with women entrepreneurs. They're my favorite people to work with. I love the way they blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here's how you phrase it. If you are a woman entrepreneur and you love to do blah, 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 then you're the person that I would love to connect with. It's okay if you slip an I in there in the end part, but you lead with you, and people are leaning in to see if you are talking about something that they self-representing as. Does that make sense?
Oh, it certainly does. And I love that. And in fact, sometimes when I'm working with AI, that I might go in and say, could you revamp this from the reader's perspective? And then that's when you get those you, and then it's talking about what you're interested in versus what I'm interested in. So that really is that complete shift, which is, thank you for bringing that up, because that is key.
It's easy. It's
Yes,
so important,
so easy.
and it's so easy.
Something you mentioned a little earlier, and I'm going to have you pick up on this, and that is you talked about voice. And I know that you work a lot with AI and obviously with your clients and AI with voice and branding your voice. Talk to us more about that, how that sort of weaves into what we're talking about now.
Absolutely. I believe wholeheartedly that AI is a revolutionary tool for us as business owners. It really creates so much time savings for us. Every time I use an AI engine, I see things I would have never thought of before to phrase things a certain way. I'm like, I would have never thought of those words, right? There's a huge benefit to AI. But on the downside of AI is the fact that we're all using it, and the content that comes out is either a little bit too corporate speak, professional, or it's too generic, too bland. When you lean into AI to help you communicate, help you put together your messages and your content, you're risking the fact that people will, first of all, notice that it's not you, and they will be turned off by the blandness, the less than emotional impact that it can have for them. There's this fine line between leveraging AI and falling into an AI centric kind of tepid content trap. I have created, I know you know this, but I believe so much in AI that I have trained my own AI agent with absolutely everything that I know, all my processes and methodologies and everything, so that she can create for me and for my clients, because we train her to know their business, their offers, their marketing plans, everything. She can create content for them, but we don't want it to sound bland. One of the most important things for you to do when you are using AI is to train your brand voice. I'm not talking about that little area in ChatGPT where you can go in and put some business information so it kind of knows you and it says, oh, what do you like your tone to be? Oh, I want my tone to be warm and authentic, right? That's the tip of the iceberg. What I'm talking about is identifying your speech patterns. What are the words you use most often? What metaphors do you use quite often? What stories do you tell? What is authentic about the way you communicate? And create a brand inventory so that when you're going to use an AI engine, you say, here's my brand voice. I want you to pull from this so that my content sounds just like me. And it's not hard to do, Susan, but it's night and day when it comes to the quality of the content that comes out when you create that.
And having worked with that brand voice, whose name is Sasha, we've got to tell people it's Sasha. Let's talk about how that would help our authors when it comes to actually selling their book.
The thing that we're going to go back to, why does someone want your book? It's because of the dreams, the possibilities that they are hoping to achieve in their lives. By creating content that speaks to the wants and the desires of your reader, you're going to start drawing them into that awareness. Ooh, there's a book. Ooh, I want that book. That could help me. That's me. They're speaking my language. You put all of these pieces together, you create some great content that sounds just like you, but it's buyer centric. It's about them and the transformation they want to make. And all of a sudden, those two pieces come together. It's kind of like the Reese's peanut butter cup. I don't know if you remember that commercial. You put the peanut butter in my chocolate. No, you put the chocolate in my peanut butter. That's what's coming together, the convergence, the gift you have to offer with your book, with the need that your book buyer has. And when they converge together, a sale is made. And you're not being pushy or salesy. You're just offering important information for them.
What I like so much too is that it helps me. I think I know my clients really well. However, what I've learned and I'm learning as I use this tool is that I'm getting to know them even better than I thought I did. It's giving me insights that I was like, oh, and I won't use a swear word here, but OMG.
Yes, yes. It's so cool. Here's the thing. AI, and we're talking about having Sasha or some agent help you create content. AI started as let's say a glorified Google, right? You just type something in and it feeds something back out to you and you're like, oh, that's cool. Thank you. That's what I wanted. And then it became very generative where you could say, no, that's not exactly it. Could you do this for me? And it would give you another version of it. The difference between a typical AI chat, because that's what I just described, an AI chat, and an AI agent, is that the agent is trained enough with enough intellect on the topic that you're querying about that it's going to question you. It's going to say, wait a second, hold on. And I love it when my agent comes back and says, I'm going to definitely challenge you on that, Susan. I don't think you're thinking at a deep enough level here. And here's the way I see it. Would you agree? So you're having a conversation with this agent and they become a true assistant in your life because we are all busy people. We're all trained at different levels, right, of sales and marketing. And we can't know it all. To have an agent like Sasha support you with knowledge, not just content, it's unbelievable.
It really is. I've just gotten completely carried away with it. And help me with this, but just knowing and understanding your reader, your client, your prospect, this all helps in the sales process. However you use it, whether it's spoken, it's written, it's on video, on a podcast, it's helping in all those ways. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. Yes, 100%. All the author has to do is go back to the genesis, the origins of their book. Why did they want to write this book? Why is it important to get this book out into the world? Who will benefit from it? What will their life be like? What will they know or be able to do that is different after having read the book? Now, all of a sudden, if you're collecting that, right? If you're telling, for instance, if someone was using Sasha and they said, I wrote this book and here's, the answer to those questions. All of a sudden, Sasha's going, oh, that's cool. Let me ask you this about that. And then how about if we talk about it this way? And all of a sudden, you're into creating beautiful content where you have not had to struggle over it. All you're doing is telling them why you created the book and who it's for.
I think also what I've found is that we often have feelings, but yet we're not necessarily able to verbalize them, put them
True.
into actual words. And I think that's often where this kind of tool can be helpful, not only to help you say how people might be feeling. It's like, oh, yes, wow, yeah, she seems to know me, even though they may not be able to. And I've had it myself. I've got a feeling, but I'm not sure that I can actually verbalize how I'm actually feeling about this because it's sort of internal. It's in my body. It's in, yeah. So, yeah.
It's almost like we get into a rut of thinking a certain way and we need a pattern interrupt. Something that will say, yes, and how about this? And you're going, oh my gosh, I would have never thought of that. That's fabulous. So now the whole way you talk about your book is 100% different. It's just a beautiful thing.
I think one of the sort of I would say disabilities, challenges maybe is a better word, is procrastination. I
Oh,
think not only authors, writers, I mean, anybody, we fall into this procrastinating. And I think the agents and any of the AI models help sort of get us out of that. And you use the word rut, gets us into a rut. And yes, I immediately you said that, I was like, yeah, that's procrastination often.
yes, it is. And Susan, here's the thing. I'm going to go back to again. If you procrastinate, you are human. Your brain is protecting you from doing things that it perceives as being difficult or risky. A lot of times, because you're the one, a lot of us are, we don't have somebody we can hire to do everything for us, right? We're chief cook and bottle washer, I think they say. If we're creating our content and then we're going out and we're pushing it out, there's this, did I do it good enough? Also, it's procrastination topped with perfectionism,
Oh.
right? And so that's what I love about Sasha. She created my playbook for me. She says, okay, based on everything you've told me you're trying to achieve with what you're trying to promote, here's the way I see it. Here's the best places for you to show up. And here's the type of things you should create content wise. She creates the playbook. I just run the plays. I'm not emotionally invested in what I've created. We co-created, but I trust her. When I use her stuff, it gets great results. So now instead of me laboring over, oh, is it good enough? Is this the right way to do it? Now all I'm doing is saying, okay, I'll go to that networking and I'll use this intro because I've used it before. I think it works great. I'll go out there on Facebook and I'll put these posts out there because I'm getting good results with the content. It just takes that emotional connection or the imposter out of it, right? For people who are not sales and marketing experts, it takes that out so they don't feel that reticence.
Oh my goodness. We could go on. I mean, just bringing up the whole imposter syndrome and the procrastination and perfectionism. Oh my goodness. This is opening many doors. Susan, you're going to have to come back and talk about more of this. In the meantime, I know that our listeners are probably chomping at the bit, wanting to know more about you and Sasha. Tell us.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. I have a community called the She Boss Cafe, which is a lovely place for people to come and mingle and get to know people, network. Sasha is part of my She Boss Pro community. She's a tool that is actually, I think she's about 3 months old now. So she's in her infancy stage, but she evolves every day and it's fun to work with her. So come into the cafe, you can find out more about Sasha. But I also have something called that, referring back to what we talked about earlier about your brand voice and having an inventory of those things that makes your AI create content that sounds like you. I have a little gift for your listeners. It's called the AI Voice Brand Inventory Guide, 15 minutes, how to think through and be able to create that inventory so that you can immediately upload it each time you create content and say, use my voice and create authentic content for me.
Oh, and how can I find that, Susan?
Yes, I'll give you the link. It's a long link. So how about the show notes?
Absolutely. Yes. Why don't we just put it in the show notes? And because people are probably don't have anything there sitting there waiting to write something down. I know people listen to the podcast while they're walking the dog or they're on the
My favorite.
treadmill in the gym. So, yeah, I won't say mowing the lawn because for us it's shoveling snow. By the way, thank you for that gift because our listeners are always love gifts. So appreciate that. As you know, Susan, I always ask our guests to leave our listeners with a golden nugget. And you've given us so much already, but how about one more little thing?
All right. Don't be the best kept secret out there. Don't have your book be the best kept secret. You didn't put all your love and your heart and your soul into it to have it sit on a shelf and not have that present be given. Change the way you think about promoting your book and promoting yourself and think about it as I have something to share that there's people out there who need it. I just need to find the person who needs it. That's it.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. And it's this gift. You talked about it earlier. right at the beginning, you mentioned you're giving your people a gift. Yes, don't lose sight of that. I love this. This has been brilliant. Listeners, you're going to have to go back and re-listen to this many times over because there were so many nuggets that Susan shared with us. Susan, thank you so much for being so generous and sharing your wisdom. By the way, listeners, if your book isn't selling the way you wanted or expected to, let's you and I jump on a quick call together to brainstorm ways to ramp up those sales because you've invested a whole lot of time, money, and energy, and it's time you got the return you were hoping for. So go to bookmarketingbrainstorm.com to schedule your free call. And in the meantime, I hope this powerful interview sparks some ideas you can use to sell more books. So until next week, here's wishing you much book and author marketing success.